You've been told a lie your entire life. They told you to be yourself. They told you that your personality is a fixed monument and that changing it is a form of betrayal. But look at where being yourself has gotten you. If you are still standing in the same place, fighting the same invisible battles while the 1% move toward the horizon, then your current self isn't a sanctuary. It's a limitation. The truth is, you aren't falling behind because you lack talent. You are held back because you are desperately protecting a version of yourself that is no longer useful. Your brain is a master of deception. It clings to your old identity because it is familiar, because it is safe. To your subconscious, a comfortable stagnation is better than an unpredictable breakthrough. Think of your identity as an old, decaying ruler sitting on a throne. He is weak, he is fearful, and his laws are outdated. Yet, you continue to serve him. Most people try to change their lives by rearranging the furniture in the palace. They try to change their results, but they leave the weak ruler on the throne. And as long as he sits there, nothing truly changes. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. I remember watching a colleague who constantly complained about being overlooked. He worked harder than anyone, but he still carried the aura of a follower. He was trying to do the work of a leader while being a subordinate. He was decorating a cage he refused to leave. If you feel a cold shiver of discomfort when you think about changing who you are, do not turn away. That feeling is not a warning to stop. It is the confirmation that you are finally standing at the gates of the only transformation that matters. To build a new empire, you must first have the courage to dethrone the old version of you. The 99% will stay in the dark, hugging their limitations like a security blanket. But you are beginning to realize that you are whoever you decide to be tomorrow. The question is, are you ready to stop defending your past and start engineering your future? The anatomy of the architect. To understand why the masses remain trapped in their repetitive cycles, you must understand the structure of change. Most people approach self-improvement like a decorator trying to paint a crumbling wall. They fix the surface, but the foundation remains unstable. This is the layer principle. There are 3 levels of existence, and the 99% are obsessed with the shallowest one. The first layer is outcomes. This is the what. It's the desire to lose weight, to see a specific number in a bank account, or to gain followers. This is where the loud, desperate crowd lives. They chase the result like a dog chasing a car it can never drive. Because they only focus on the what, their motivation is fragile. When the result doesn't come fast enough, they retreat to their old, comfortable selves. They are tourists in the land of success, never residents. The second layer is processes. This is the how. It's your systems, your habits, and your daily schedule. This is a step above the masses. Here, people try to optimize their routine. They buy the planners, they set the alarms, and they follow the checklists. But even here, there is a critical weakness. If you try to force a winner's routine onto a follower's mindset, the friction will eventually exhaust you. You are essentially a software update trying to run on incompatible hardware. The third and deepest layer is identity. This is the who. This is the core of the architect. This layer is composed of your deepest beliefs, your worldview, and how you define yourself when no one is watching. While the 99% try to achieve something, the 1% strive to become someone. I once knew a man who desperately wanted to be respected. He spent thousands on expensive suits and luxury watches. The outcomes. He practiced his handshake and his posture, the processes. But internally, he still felt like the insecure person he was years ago. When he entered a room, people didn't see a leader. They saw someone wearing a costume that didn't fit. His identity was uncertain, and no amount of expensive fabric could hide that energy. You must realize that your identity is the thermostat of your life. If you set your identity to average and you accidentally achieve a high-level outcome, your internal system will find a way to pull you back until you return to the temperature you think you deserve. To the architect, the outcome is irrelevant. It is merely a symptom of the identity. You don't aim for the target. You become the one who cannot miss. The shift. There is a word that the weak use to comfort themselves. That word is trying. I am trying to be more disciplined. I am trying to stay silent. In the ears of the architect, trying is the language of a weak identity. It is a built-in excuse for hesitation. When you say you are trying, you are giving yourself permission to fail because, after all, you tried. But the 1% do not try. They become. You don't try to write a book. You become the person who never misses a deadline. You don't try to stay silent in a meeting. You become the observer who finds the noise of others beneath their dignity. As the saying goes, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your identity. If your identity is solid, your habits require no effort. A person who doesn't smoke doesn't try to turn down a cigarette. They simply don't do it. It is not a battle of will. It is a statement of being. This is the shift you must make. You must move from the desperation of doing to the cold certainty of being. However, as you begin this shift, a haunting sensation will follow you. This is cognitive dissonance. You will walk into a room, acting with the calm authority of an architect, and a voice in the back of your mind will whisper, "This isn't you." Most people feel this discomfort and run back to their old, messy lives because they think the new them is inauthentic. They mistake the discomfort of growth for a lack of honesty. But listen closely, that feeling of being different is not a sign of failure. It is the sound of your old identity fading away. It is the friction caused by your new self-image grinding against the rusted remains of your past. In the world of the 99%, they value authenticity, which is usually just a fancy word for staying exactly as limited as they have always been. To the architect, authenticity to a weak past is a self-imposed limit. I remember the first time I decided to stop reacting to the small talk of my peers. I felt incredibly awkward. I felt distant. My old identity, the people pleaser, was screaming at me to smile and join the noise. But I sat through the discomfort. I let the dissonance stay, and eventually the tension went out, and what was left was a new version of me that didn't need their approval to feel significant. You are not faking it. You are rehearsing. You are training your nervous system to handle the weight of your new reality, while the crowd remains true to their mediocre selves. You are busy becoming someone they will eventually respect. Let the dissonance work. It is the only way to forge a mind that the world cannot break. The costume of character, to birth the architect, the inferior version of you, must be retired. But here is the secret the masses never understand. You do not upgrade your old self with a single grand gesture. You do not wake up one day and find your weakness is gone. Your old identity is like a shadow that has followed you for years. It does not go away because you ask it to. It fades because you stop providing it with energy. Every time you engage in shallow gossip, every time you seek validation from people you don't even respect, and every time you negotiate with your own hesitation, you are fueling the old you. You are keeping that weak, predictable version of yourself alive. To shift your identity, you must initiate a process of detachment. You must become indifferent toward your own excuses. This is where the costume of character comes into play. Most people believe they need to feel ready before they act. They wait for a surge of confidence that never arrives. The architect knows better. You do not wait for the feeling, you put on the armor. Think of a high-stakes actor who steps onto a stage to play a king. For those 2 hours, he does not try to be royal. He is royal. His posture, his gaze, the way he lets silence hang in the air, it is all a performance that becomes a reality for everyone watching. You must treat your new identity as a role that is non-negotiable. If the person you want to become is a master of focus, you don't wait until you feel focused to start working. You put on the costume of a focused person. You sit at the desk, you ignore the distractions, and you move with the deliberate precision of a professional. I once knew a man who wanted to transition from a subordinate to a leader. He didn't wait for the promotion. He started dressing with a subtle, sharp authority months before anyone mentioned a new title. He stopped joining the noise in the break room. He spoke 50% less and listened with 100% more intensity. He adopted the character of the man he intended to be, and eventually, the environment had no choice but to treat him like that man. The 99% are afraid of being called inauthentic. They cling to their current self, which is just a fancy word for their current limits. But you must realize that everything you currently do was once new until you did it enough times for it to become your nature. Your current personality is just a collection of habits you've practiced for too long. If you want a different life, you must practice a different role. Leave the old version behind. Feed the king. Evidence-based loops. The world is full of dreamers who spend their nights whispering affirmations into the mirror. They say, "I am powerful," while their lives remain unchanged. This is a waste of time. Your brain is not easily fooled. It does not care about what you say. It only cares about what you prove. This is the evidence-based loop. To shift your identity, you must stop making claims and start providing evidence. Each action you take is a vote for the person you are becoming. If you say you are disciplined, but you negotiate with your alarm clock every morning, you have just cast a vote for the old you. You have told your subconscious that your words have no weight. To the architect, this is the ultimate inconsistency. Most people operate on a flawed logic. They think, if I have $1 million, I will do what successful people do, and then I will be successful. This is the logic of a follower. It is a story for the 99%. The architect operates on be, do, have. You decide right now to be the person you want to become. You do the actions that a person of that caliber would naturally do, and as a result, you eventually have the outcomes that the masses can only dream of. The results are not the goal. They are the byproduct of your new identity. If you want to be a person of high status, you don't wait for a title. You start by making decisions that a high-status person makes. A high-status person does not waste hours a day on mindless distractions. They do not lose their composure over trivial matters. They do not hand out their attention for free. When you do these things, you're providing your brain with a receipt of your new identity. Look at the people around you, the ones who complain about the same problems for a decade. They are waiting for the world to change so they can finally feel different. They are waiting for the have to happen. They are subordinates to their environment. You, however, are a director. You understand that your identity is the only variable you truly control. Don't repeat a new sentence about yourself. Prove a new sentence. If you say you are an observer, stay silent in the next meeting and watch how much power you gain by simply refusing to join the noise. Each moment of silence is a brick in your new foundation. The transition will be challenging. It should be. You are essentially dismantling an old structure to build a monument. But while the crowd is busy begging for a like to feel relevant, you are busy securing your internal borders. You are building a version of yourself that doesn't need external validation because it is built on a mountain of undeniable evidence. Go back to your world tomorrow. Put on the character. Provide the evidence. Let them wonder why you've changed. To the architect, being misunderstood by the average is the highest form of praise. The final ascension. The transition is nearly complete, but the most important moment is right now. Most people believe that changing their life is about changing their surroundings, moving to a new city, finding new circles, or getting a new job. They are mistaken. You do not change your life. You change your identity, and your life has no choice but to follow. It is a law of nature. The reflection must follow the object. If you remain the same person internally, you will eventually recreate the same repetitive reality, no matter where you go. As you step into this new version of yourself, the old version will not fade quietly. You will feel a deep internal resistance. This is the final struggle of the old mindset you have replaced. It will whisper that you are becoming too distant or that you are losing your original self. But what it calls your original self is really just your old, predictable limitations. I've stood at this crossroads myself. I remember the moment I realized that if I wanted to reach the next level, I had to stop being loyal to a version of me that was built on hesitation. It felt like I was moving away from comfort, until I realized that the comfort I was leaving was actually my greatest obstacle. The 99% are fearful of this internal shift. They prefer the slow, comfortable stagnation of their current lives over the sharp clarity of a new beginning. They will stay at the bottom of the mountain, looking up at you and calling you strange or unreachable. Let them. While they are busy seeking safety in the crowd, you are busy securing a future that will last. To build a new kingdom, the old perspective must be removed. There is no middle ground. You cannot be the architect while still thinking like a subordinate. You must become the source, the director, the unshakable wall. Look at the people around you one last time. Notice how loud they are, yet how little they produce. Notice how busy they are, yet how little they build. You are no longer one of them. You have seen the blueprint. You have provided the evidence. Now, you must simply be. The view from the top is quiet. It is clear. And it is yours. The old version of you is finished. The architect has arrived. I'll see you at the top.